Hello, hello. Welcome back to the Story Darlings podcast. I'm Sandra.
And I'm Tara. And I was just like mouthing Sandra's beginning section here.
Just like over here mimicking.
Lip syncing Sandra's intro.
Lip syncing podcast. And what are we talking about today?
We are talking about A Fate Inked in Blood. That's the title of this book that I just read, right? Okay, awesome.
And the book is so pretty. When I think
is.
of like badass, like Viking looking women, like this is the the perfect cover.
Okay, I love the cover except for her eyes. Like I feel like they're very vacant.
You think they're vacant?
Like there's just something with her eyes that like throws me off.
Maybe they're too light. They do
Yeah.
have the amber color. What I like is she's hiding her right hand, and then you see her left hand that has the shield rune tatted into her skin. I love this so much. So the reason why we're reading this is because this is book one in the Saga of the Unfated. So A Fate Inked in Blood. This is written by Danielle Jensen, and she's better known for a series called The Bridge Kingdom, which I have not read yet, but I've heard amazing things about.
She has another one because I was out there trying to figure out if there was a character list, and I know I told Sandra about this, but she has one character list for a book series. I think it starts with an M. It has a character list, but this one does not. So we will be trying to put together a character list for everybody.
Yes, because there are so many and they're hard to pronounce. But I was kind of sad today because I didn't expect to love this book as much as I did. But from the first chapter, Tara, it completely hooked me. Just with the conflict between Freya and her husband Vragi, and just all of the hatred that was boiling under the surface, just waiting to pop off, which we got that at the end of chapter 2, which was amazing.
Well, really, Freya and everybody. Like, there's so many dynamics built into this book from very early on. Like, you've got her and her husband and that tension. You've got her and her family, which is like quintessential toxic family, right? They just use her.
Yeah.
You've got her and Bjorn the whole time. You've got her and
Snorri.
The book, as I was listening to it, and granted I was listening to it at like 3 times speed, but I kept hearing his name as like Smutty.
I know what Tara was thinking about.
And I'm like, this doesn't make sense. What is his damn name? Which is why I was looking up character names, because I couldn't figure out what his name is. But Bjorn's dad. You've got her and Ylva.
Ylva.
Okay, well, it sounded like Eva to me. You've got her and just like pretty much everybody else in the book.
Yes. It's interesting because you know that there's something up with her, and you're told that she's like keeping a secret, that she's been told by her parents never to speak the secret aloud. So you spend the very first part of the book trying to guess at what that is. And just with her personality being so fiery and so just tense with everybody, I'm sitting here trying to go through all of the Norse gods, like, oh, which one could she possibly be that they haven't already attributed to somebody else that we've met in the book? But anyways, I was sad to hear that this is only going to be a duology. But we're reading this right now because the second and final book comes out on July 8th, which is called A Curse Carved in Bone. And I'll pop up the cover during the episode of this when it releases, but it is red and she looks like just a straight warrior and it looks amazing. Another thing, Tara, that surprised me was this is an adult epic fantasy, I would say, or romantasy, but the main characters are 20, like she's 20, Bjorn is a little bit older. But they're also, this is the first time I've read like an epic fantasy that didn't have a map. Like I kept trying to refer to a map to see like where are they traveling, and there was no map.
But they didn't travel too much. Like they traveled between cities, but it wasn't like continents like you see in a lot of these other like epic fantasies.
Yeah,
maybe that's like why.
Next book, maybe.
Yeah, I'm just gonna like jump to the end because I did not see that coming.
Me neither, and I love that.
I did not see that coming at all. I mean, I saw parts of it coming, but I did not see the end coming.
It was cool because, I mean, we're just going to talk spoilers now. So if you haven't read this, hopefully you enjoyed our little intro chit chat about it, but you might want to duck out now. But the scene in the beginning where she's going through the rune ceremony that Ylva is kind of putting onto her with that blood magic or whatever you want to call it, and Snorri is just being his fanatical self. There's that moment within the rune circle where she gets torn. Freya gets ripped into half. Like rib cage gets splayed out. Bjorn sees it. Ylva sees it. Nobody else sees it. And we find out it was because of this big reveal at the end that these two goddesses were fighting over her because she has a drop from both. It's so cool who the second one turned out to be. I mean, both of them were really cool, but
so she has one goddess, which is the goddess of, like, it seemed like shielding and protection, but also war.
Hlin.
Yeah, I
Shield
have no
Maiden.
clue any of these names because they did not pronounce them the same as, like, what Sandra is doing. And then the second one, what was her name?
Hell.
Oh, well, that makes sense because,
With
like,
one L.
we see like the branches going and basically dragging people to hell. And Sandra, you mentioned Norse gods, and I did not put that together in these, maybe because I didn't hear any of the names properly.
Oh yeah. It was
But Hel is a Norse god of
oh, she's the one that's depicted with like the
the
antlers, which is
horns.
what
Hmm.
Freya was wearing at Fjalltinder, like during the little
Yeah,
orgy scene,
and
basically.
she's basically the goddess of, like, chaos and hell.
Ooh, yeah, yeah.
So that makes sense.
Yeah, so we did get that foreshadowing there, but yeah, did not guess that. I'd have to go back and read. One of my favorite scenes was when they had to travel to the mountain to try and get an alliance with all the Jarls at the top. And so the team split up and Bjorn and Freya had to go through the mountain. And there was the Draugr that were under there, like the skeleton, I don't know, soldiers, whatever you want to call them. And it was just a creepy place.
I was
And
picturing Pirates of the Caribbean with, like, the
yeah,
like living skeletons that are, like, cursed because of their
yeah.
owners' like lust for money.
And they're sentient, like they're talking, and they're
Hmm.
having a conversation and stuff. I'm interested to go back and read that scene to see if there's any more foreshadowing because that was Hell's realm, like her underworld-ish kind of place, you know? This book had a lot of cool scenes like that. I mean, it was a pretty straightforward plot because you're just trying to figure out who Freya is, and it's basically a quest for her to help this guy, Jarl Snorri, become the king of everything with some family drama, like
Lots of
his
family
wife.
drama. Lots of family drama from everywhere. The scene where her mom talks about the fact that a goddess asked her, like, stole her baby and then asked her to give her baby in the womb to her as her vessel, and that baby was Freya, obviously. But how did she get the drop of the other goddess's blood? Like, if the one asked her to let her be the vessel, and Hel has never had, according to the other people, like, she's the first of her kind. Was that the first of her kind as Hel's kind of person too, or because she had to?
Yeah, it's really interesting, right? Wasn't the first one to visit the parents when they were, whatever, that night. She
Making a
was
baby?
making the baby. She was the first one that visited was the one with the black hair. So Hel was the first one, and she was like, "Let me have that baby as a vessel, and I'll save the baby that you love so much, big bro
Mhm.
gear." And they're like, "Sure, we'll give up this baby essentially because we love our baby boy so much." And then Hell, I guess it was some kind of trickery. Like she didn't really plan on fulfilling all of it, right? Because the baby died of something completely unrelated, like the next day, like immediately. And the shield maiden god, who was a very lesser known god, she felt bad and pitied and she visited. It's very interesting because I even tried Googling more information about this, mythological figure, and there's still barely anything about this Hlin goddess character. So I wonder if we'll get more there, if there's going to be like an all out battle between her and Hell in the next book.
Oh, that's gonna be an interesting one.
Hopefully, Freya isn't like ripped in half again.
Oh,
That'd
yeah.
suck.
But then we also see the kind of shit family that Bjorn has, which his dad tried to kill his mom, which we find out right at the end his mom is still alive.
Okay, were you mad at Bjorn when he finally was
Yes.
like, "Yeah, Saga's alive"? No, she's alive. Like, you asshole. He acted all sad and had me all upset because I felt like his trauma around the fire and all of this was because he felt he was blaming himself for his mom's death and he's been carrying this the whole time. And then he just lied about it and was still hiding it at the end. I was
So
so mad.
I was mad at him for multiple reasons at the end. Multiple. But I still think he has a shit family. He has
Yes.
Ava, who resents him as the oldest son because he's not her son, right? He
Mm-hmm.
has his dad that couldn't care less about him or anybody but himself. And then he has his mom that died but isn't dead, but apparently isn't anywhere near him
Mm-hmm.
because
Mm-hmm.
we've not met her yet, right? So she's somewhere. And I'm thinking she is married to the other, like the king
Harold?
or something. Which, why do all of the kings that are like bad or whatever have the name Harold?
I don't know. But is he
But
bad though? Is he really bad?
well,
We don't.
like
Yeah, yeah.
that are appear to be bad maybe in
Mm-hmm.
this case. But I don't know. The jury's still out on him because I do also think he's a jackass too.
Yeah.
Because he is just using Bjorn.
Yeah.
because that's the part where I'm mad at him. Bjorn apparently has been working with Harold this whole time in trying to get her to him and trying to make her make the decision herself.
Tara's eye rolls.
And just basically lying to her this whole time. As she's falling in love with him, he knows she's falling in love with him against her better judgment. As she's trying to protect him this whole time. And dude is just fucking flat ass lying about
True.
everything.
But I guess, the one thing that he has going for him is he was
He's
honest to
hot.
God. I mean, okay, two things he has going for him. He is hot as fuck. And number two, he was actually trying to throw it all away and just run away with her, right? He was
But was
dead
he?
set.
But was
I
he?
think so.
Because when Harold shows up, he mentions that we had a plan that you would bring her to us. And like he was still working on that plan. He was just trying to convince her that it was a good
See,
plan.
I disagree. I think they overslept. I think he meant to run off before dawn and he ended up sleeping in late and he just fucked around,
But
literally, and didn't get around
but
to
this
running.
isn't where he was supposed to be. So he would have had to have planned for Harold to go against the plans and show up where he currently is in order for him to oversleep and
I
that to
mean,
have worked out that way. I think he was still just trying to convince her and trying to buy himself some time that she would come to the conclusion that he wanted her to before he had to tell her the truth.
so what Tara is saying and arguing here is she thinks Bjorn only has one thing going for him, and it is his hotness.
Yes. I mean, prove me wrong. Okay, Bjorn, you're hot. I still
But
have some feelings for
yeah,
you, but you're on thin ice, buddy.
I mean, I'll be the bad girl here. I fucking loved me some Bjorn. His banter from the opening scene where we met him in the water and he's just openly flirting with her after she has this scene. It's okay, every couple has that difficult like tension sometimes with their partner where they're just like bickering, right? And it seemed like one of those scenes but to the extreme because basically her husband Vragi can control the water-ish, I guess, because the drop of blood
Mhm.
that he has. So he's always fucking over the whole fishing village and only letting them get all the fish and be able to sell it at market. And so Freya's over here slaving away, like gutting fish every day, smelling like just fish. And he's just like, "You're not doing it right. Show me how you've gut the fish." And she's just like with the knife, like picturing murdering him right now. And Bjorn, I think Bjorn did see that, didn't he? When Froggy left, Bjorn, he knew she was married, I feel like.
I don't think he knew when he first met her because then he goes and he talks to Froggy, whatever you just called him. Um,
Froggy.
and then he comes back and introduces him.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like I remember where his facial expressions changed. Like he did not
Mm.
realize it was her at first.
It's like, oh shit.
But I did appreciate, and anybody who's married has probably had this moment with their husbands or their spouse before too. Like she full on murders him. She goes into a rage and she does it. Now, I'm not saying everybody has that part of it, but you have the feeling of wanting to.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Um,
So, quick plug here. We have just launched a Discord server to talk about books as we read them each month and other fun stuff that we'll do, like polls and that kind of thing. And I shit you not, Tara. That was the moment that I was like, okay, this book has my heart. Is the end of chapter 2 when Freya grabs the fire axe, flings it, and it just buries itself in the back of Rocky's skull. End chapter.
I did appreciate that scene a
It
lot
was
because
great.
he deserved it. I did not appreciate her feeling bad after it. Like, he didn't deserve to die because he was an asshole. Yes, he did, bitch.
Yeah, I wonder if she just felt more because he was basically supporting her mom, which her mom really didn't deserve any niceness from her
No.
too.
Like,
Like,
she has too much empathy for people.
yeah.
Like, they don't deserve your empathy. Her mom is a dickhead that was just taking shit because of her, basically selling her out as a prostitute for Rocky.
Mm-hmm. The
And
brother
living high
was,
off of that. And her brother was doing the same thing. I think that this is where Bjorn is just on thin ice and not in my shit list, is because he did try and get her to realize that they were not worth it.
oh,
That
with
they did not
everyone.
care about her. They only cared about what she could do for them.
Yeah, that's a great
Which
point.
which I think is why it pissed me off so much that in the end we had that scene where it felt like he was doing the same thing. I think that there's going to be a redemption of some sort. Like we didn't get the full story because it was such a like cliffhanger kind of thing. I'm waiting on my judgment because I think with the foreshadowing of him telling her that everybody was out for themselves and not caring about her, I want to believe that he wasn't doing that the whole time.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Speaking of getting the full story, throughout the entire book, Jarl Snorri is fanatically adamant that Bjorn's mother Saga had this vision, this prophecy, that Freya would make him the king of everything. And so he spends the entire book making sure she passes all her little tests by the gods and all these hardships and yada yada yada, ensuring that he is shown as the king of all of these people. But no one has really said what the exact wording of this prophecy was that Bjorn's mom said.
But they have, because Bjorn said it, because he was there when she had the prophecy. And basically, it is the one who controls her will become the king. The one who controls her, in my estimation, is the one that she loves. So it's Bjorn that will become the king.
And there's also the tricky wording of the blood oath, which was chapter 8, page 79. Ylva says, repeat after me, and she repeats, I vow to serve no man not of this blood. I vow allegiance to him who is of this blood. I vow to protect at all cost him who is of this blood.
Which Bjorn is of this blood.
Yes. So.
And Bjorn also, like, as she's falling in love with him, he is the one who's controlling her. Her love for him is what controls her, because she even gave up her mom and her brother to save him.
Reluctantly, but she did ultimately. I think she finally is at a point where, okay, they're dead to me, especially after the whole Ingrid's pregnant and all this just ingrate shit that he was doing.
And then we calling her a whore.
Oh yeah, like
and her mom calling her. What did her mom call her? Her mom was calling her. Oh, her mom called her the whore, and her brother called her a monster.
Yeah, her brother just expected her to suck it up and just be happy being married to someone like Vragi.
But her brother also, as we saw in like the flashbacks, was the golden child, right? He was the one who could do no wrong. Everybody caters to him. So in his estimation, this is the way it goes. He's the one that matters and she doesn't. She's just here to give us shit.
I think a part of him was also just jealous, right? Because he's not blessed with a drop of any god's blood, right? Yeah. He's, deadbeat. It'll be interesting to see how those little family drama threads get resolved in the next book too, because at the end of this, Geir and Ingrid, who's pregnant, are still with Jarl Snorri and them.
But is she pregnant? Because also, I think maybe I wouldn't put it past him to say that to get his sister to save his life.
Tara's diving deep into some family subterfuge.
Because he's such a jackass. He says whatever he thinks it will take to get her to do it. And she had already turned down like the saving him, which she's never done before. And so he had to step it up.
Maybe.
I've been reading too much Reddit here recently, apparently, of the am I an asshole for fucking over my family subs.
Oh, you can't get out those.
Maybe that's drifting in here, but I wouldn't put it past him to have just said that to give her pause on leaving him.
But then we also find out that the reason Bjorn was trying to kill Saga is basically because Saga was like this loose cannon, right? Like Saga knew the truth of what the prophecy actually said, and he wanted to make sure that nobody caught wind of that and could interpret things differently that would jeopardize him becoming king, which was why he attempted to kill Saga, which is what we're told from Bjorn and King Harold anyways. But the thing I'm trying to understand is, okay, so when Bjorn turned 10, that's when his powers started manifesting or whatever, right?
Was Saga the healer?
She was the seer. The healer was Liv.
Oh, the mom. Okay, sorry.
Yeah. Saga's mama, the seer, who is now at Nordaland. So I'm just like, okay, the whole time we also spent the whole book saying, oh, this specter that she keeps seeing is Saga, like the ghost of Saga. Well, okay, if Saga's alive, who do we think the specter is? Maybe Hel?
And we find out, like, that the goddesses or somebody is talking in her head. And it's basically, I envision it as like a good and a bad on her shoulder.
Yes.
Like kind of talking her through, which would make sense because the shielding lady is the good and Hel is the bad, and she's got these two warring sides inside of her.
Maybe the frustrating empathetic part of her that you're is the shield maiden, the protector. Yeah, that would make sense. That voice is always angry when her eyes turn crimson and she's just filled with rage. Yes. Oh, I'm ready for that.
Yeah. I envision Bjorn is going to get a little bit of that here in the near future.
Probably. It probably wasn't meant to be funny, but toward the end when, first off, I don't think we've talked about this character at all, but she's the Skad, the bard, magical story singer lady, Steinen, whatever her name is. She was also kind of a mole playing the other side, and she blows the powder in Freya's face. Freya blacks out. The next thing she knows, she's in a boat headed to Nordaland. And she just like jumps off the side of the boat into the freezing water and just like, fuck it, I'm gonna swim. I was like, oh, this is not gonna go well. This
No.
is not gonna go well. It's
I
gonna be an
I
interesting
do
next book.
I do think I need a list of characters and maybe even a list of their like gods associated with them
Mm-hmm.
so that I can make this make sense. And maybe I'll even have to research some Norse gods to like throw some
Yeah,
extra
you like
research in there.
digging. You like
Yeah.
digging into that stuff.
Because I think that there's some foreshadowing even in that of who the goddess is. Like I said, you had the one good and the one bad, and knowing Hel in Norse mythology is like that chaos driven
Maybe
goddess.
this. Oh, because she had that observation at the end of the book. She was like, King Harold has a drop of blood because Hell's vines or roots or whatever didn't pull him
Mm-hmm.
underground. So he has some unknown drop of blood. Maybe it's Odin or something like that. That's one that has not been accounted for yet.
I
What
also
if this
find
is.
it very interesting that whatever his name is, Bjorn's dad, doesn't have anything.
Snorri's a snore. He's just.
Like, I'm wondering if that's a red herring that he actually does, and maybe it's like a Loki that is a trickster god where he's trying to trick everybody into doing what he wants instead of what the prophecy actually said, and trying to do like a veil over the prophecy to get his way.
Maybe.
Like I could see Loki being his.
Maybe that would be a twist too. Isn't there like some final battle among the gods in North myth? Is it Ragnarok? Is that what it is? Like there's some kind
Mm-hmm.
of, maybe it's building up to something like that. But I do think at first I was like, okay, this goddess Hlin, the shield maiden, that's not a cool power at all. But then throughout the book, she's doing things like deflecting Thor's power, the lightning, like just like
Mm-hmm.
bouncing it back. They go over a freaking waterfall and she's able to just kind of bubble
Shields her.
them.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
Um,
it's cool. She had one friend too, Freya did, the female Jarl, Bodil, who died.
who died, yeah. I'm now thinking about your Ragnarok because that also kind of goes hand in hand with like Greek mythology where they have like their little chessboards, the gods do, and
Mm.
they're people that they associate, like Athena associated with Odysseus and kind of like moved him around and like put him in places and taught him things and like whatever. That would be very interesting if that's what they're setting this up for, is that these
Ooh.
are basically like their little chess pieces to have this battle.
That would be really cool. I could see that being the second book. I mean, this book just had so much like nonstop action. It was,
Except for sexual action. Like
I
that was a
mean
fucking
that
slow burn.
it was a slow burn, but when it finally hit, it was well done. I thought.
Yeah. It was just
Like,
a slow
okay,
burn. Like we didn't get it until very end of the book.
we got some stolen kisses, awkward orgy scene.
Some
He didn't Bjorn go through part of
heavy
the book.
petting.
Yes, heavy petting. But didn't Bjorn go through part of the book thinking that she had sealed the marriage by sleeping with his dad? Like, didn't he? Like, he was feeling guilty for having these feelings about her whenever she was married to Papa Snorri.
Yeah.
But also,
But
Tara,
like that wouldn't have been by her choice, which gets me when the guy blames the girl when he obviously knows this was not her choice. It was not her choice to marry Froggy. And I'm just going to call him that because I don't like him
it
and I want him to
rhymes.
have like a dumb name. Or Snorri, which again, that's a dumb name for him. So I like it, right?
Sorry if your name's Snorri.
Not her choice.
True. I do feel bad for the 15-year-old little brother, half brother of Bjorn, though, Leif,
Mm-hmm.
because he seems like a genuinely good kid who loves his big bro, and he has kind of a crazy
Mom.
mom who's reaching.
Well, but is she? Like towards the middle slash end of the book, I started feeling more empathy for her.
Yeah, little, but she
Which weirdly
treated
enough,
Bjorn.
she's the only character that Freya doesn't have empathy for, and I'm over here feeling empathy for her. But I think she is trying to save her people.
Yeah,
Because
she
you do
genuinely
see that
cares.
she has a lot of loyalty from the people, and to me that would imply that she does something right because her husband's a freaking lunatic. So he has the loyalty of the people from fear, but she has the loyalty of the people from like they love her.
Yeah.
And so she must be doing something right to have that deep love of her people. And then towards the middle and the end of the book, you see her making decisions, sometimes going against the person that she loves the most, which how the fuck can she love Snorri? But anyway,
I don't know.
she has some bad men picking taste, but she even goes against him to protect her people and her son, realistically.
I mean, I don't want to judge their relationship or anything, but they seemed pretty smitten by each other in that wedding room when they told Freya to get out.
Well, that's what I'm saying. She has some weird taste in men because she obviously loves him.
I just
Maybe he
don't
was different
understand.
in early age or something
I
when
mean,
she fell in love with him.
he couldn't have been that different if he had an affair and slept with Bjorn's mother.
But
I'm
did he?
just
I thought he was married to her first and then she died and he got remarried.
He was married to Ylva, and then he had this indiscretion, whatever it was. I'm sure we'll hear the full story in the next book. But Ylva was
Oh.
like upset about this, and that's why he was trying to ease her mind. Like she said something to the effect of, "I don't want another, situation like before. Like I can't go through this again." And it's like, what? I really want Bjorn's mom's take on all of
But
this.
but Bjorn, so the timeline doesn't make sense on that then. Were they married for like 15 years before they had
She's
a baby?
older.
Like that would have made her like 50 when she had her baby.
No, she's like in her, I think she's in her like mid 40s or something.
Okay, but if they were married when
Tara,
Bjorn was conceived, he's a good, like you said, 23. If they were married at that time and she's like early 40s, just do that math. It doesn't make it look good.
I mean, she would have been what, 20?
No,
She would have been 20.
maybe
I mean, Snorri's
at
older,
at the
right?
oldest, she would have been 20.
Because I thought she was like 44 or 46 or something like that in this book. But I'm like, that's not that bad.
It's not that bad, but like that's if she was 46 and not younger.
Maybe. I feel like we'll get those answers on why exactly Snorri, like what made him, what compelled him to procreate with Saga?
Maybe
Like,
he
did
knew
he
ahead of
know
time,
yeah, like who knows? But it's like, Saga knows
or
more too.
maybe he was trying to butter her up to get the prophecy.
I don't know. It's really weird because I don't remember how Snorri is described, but you do get that the little brother, Leif, has golden hair. King Harold has golden hair, or he's described as having golden hair. So I'm like, maybe there's like some kind of intermingling, some kind of brotherly type of drama with the women or something that we're going to find out about. I don't know, but I do hope there's an epic god battle.
Mm-hmm. I think there's a lot to be explained in the second book. Like we
So
did get some explanations at the end of this one, but I still think that there's a lot to be explained.
this isn't a super long book, and the final book is about the same length too. I think it's like 5 pages off. So it's not super chunky or anything like that. So I'm sure it'll just be nonstop action and hopefully
Mm-hmm.
answers given.
I did appreciate the nonstop action.
Mm-hmm. Like I read this within 24 hours, and I thought just from the names and there not being like a name pronunciation guide that this would put me on the struggle bus.
Now, she does have a pronunciation guide on her website for
Ooh,
this, where you just hit the play and it'll tell you how to pronounce the person's name. But that wasn't so super helpful to me.
I was gonna say you didn't want to share this information with me beforehand. Just okay, everyone out there. Tara said on Danielle Jensen's website, there's a name pronunciation.
I was
Oh,
really trying
tool.
to get this character list. I was searching everywhere. And I mean, I guess I did get a character list, but it didn't tell me who that character was. So I was just basing it off of what I thought that person's name was, which was not super helpful.
or
I
the
need an
city.
explanation to where I can like put it to what I thought I heard on my audiobook.
I'll say even immersive reading, because I read the physical copy while listening to the audiobook, the voice performances were fantastic. So I definitely recommend that. But it goes so quickly. I really,
Mm-hmm.
really enjoyed this one. So I was quite pleased.
2 thumbs up.
4 for both of us. Do you want to say what our April book is?
Well, Sandra's holding it right now. It's called A Tribute of Fire, and it is by one of my favorite authors that I made Sandra read last May. So we're a month early, and we are reading another Soraya Wilson. I hope that's how you pronounce her name. That's how I pronounce it. Book. But this is her first foray into fantasy, romantasy, because her other books are just kind of like contemporary romancy, royal romance, and they're just fun reads. So hopefully her romantasy will be fun reads, comical, just a joy, hopefully. I love the cover.
Oh, yeah. Well,
I think that cover is so pretty.
the series for this one is The Eye of the Goddess. And I just quickly flipped through at some of the names. I'm like, oh no, these somehow look more complicated than A Fate Inked in Blood.
Oh, well, I have it on Audibles again, so we are
I
going to
don't.
see if I know anybody's name by the time we record for this.
But I am super excited about this one, Tara. So,
I need everybody's help too, because I am trying to pick out our May book club book, and I really want it to be A Song of Achilles. So can peeps help convince Sandra that that's our book club book by voting for?
Hey, I'd be down
or
to
just
read
putting
that
it in
one.
comments.
So, full disclosure, I read that one 3 years ago, but I don't really remember all of the fine details. I just remember how it made me cry a lot. It was really good, and after finishing it, I immediately went and watched Troy because, some Brad Pitt.
Yeah, made you happier, right?
Yeah,
Eric
for a little
Bana.
while and then sad again. Yeah.
Orlando Bloom is in that movie too, right? He plays Paris.
I feel like there were a couple movies that came out at the same time and I can never remember.
Maybe he wasn't. Maybe he was Tristan and Isolde or whatever. But I just got back from Italy and Greece, and so I am in my mythology mind frame, and I really want to continue that with A Song of Achilles.
I am so here for this era of Terra.
I like that. That rhymed.
I did not mean to do that. I love it. I'll eat all
But
the
also,
mythology.
I'm going to give a plug because I'm also just down for, it's on Spotify, but it's called Epic, and it's basically a musical of the Odyssey. It is fantastic, Sandra. Go watch/listen to this. It's basically a musical, but they only have the songs right now. They don't have the actual play portion of it. And so this guy wrote a full-on musical, music, and it's on Spotify.
Okay, I'll check it out. Especially if we do A Song of Achilles in May, which we will. I mean, there's no question. We'll do Song of Achilles.
It's my birthday, so
yeah, Tara's gonna get what she
wants. I can convince Sandra, right?
Another thing that you, dear listeners, can help us with is our first inaugural Kill Your Darlings episode, where we play a game of Fuck, Marry, Kill. And hopefully we can do this at least, on a monthly basis. So throw some book boyfriend names and villains and whoever. You can randomize it for series that hopefully we've read. So we can put together a little fun game to play on off the cuff.
Mm-hmm. We also need to put together a book boyfriends where we rate our book boyfriends. And that's going to be hard for me because I don't know who's my top one. I'm going to have to really think about that.
Yeah, there have been some really good ones lately too. Like Quicksilver is one.
And I'm afraid I will, I am very much if it's in my face, it's my favorite, right? And I'm afraid I will forget some of the ones that we read back. Like Az, he's got to be up there. I love Az.
Yes. Cassian. Ooh, this will be fun, but also very difficult. And we'll have to figure out a number that we limit to.
10. 10 is a nice round number, right?
Okay. We'll think through what this looks like, whether we have 20 names and we have to nix 10 of them. I don't know.
Oh, we can put together 20 and then we nix them for each other.
Oh, that's not nice.
Yeah,
not nice
that one's
at
not
all.
good for you, Sandra. That one's mine.
Okay.
like veto power.
Okay. We're gonna have some fun. Let's get some quickie episodes in like that.
So everybody also send us your book boyfriends so that we don't forget your favorite book boyfriend.
Yeah, we're gonna have to go through the old list and see everything that we've read and who's in it. So you'll be Googling those character lists.
Yes.
Oh, fun. Okay, well, another plug. If you haven't joined our bookish Discord, go ahead and join that and drop any questions in there. Book suggestions, book boyfriends, whatever. It'll be a fun place.
Fuck, marry, kill suggestions.
Fuck, marry, kill. And we'll have a great time. So until next time, we will see you soon. Bye. Bye.